Hey guys, it's Raider with Raider Studio. Welcome to another video. Today is my first tutorial, and what we're going to do is learn how to make this image within Photoshop. So we open up Photoshop, and here is the original image that we started with. Here is the current image that I created. So now I thought this image was really cool when I found it, and I thought I would use it as a desktop background. But then I realized that it repeats the same image in the background over and over, and it continues to do it all the way across. And I thought, well, that's kind of generic. What if we fix that? So what we did is I just added one panoramic view to the background, fixed the bottom where it is reflected, added a blur. So today, let's go ahead and learn how to do that. So down below, you're going to find these project files. You're going to need these to be able to replicate the same image. So let's begin. Now hopefully you have somewhat of a basic knowledge of Photoshop. This is a kind of a beginner to medium tutorial. So if you have Photoshop open and you've downloaded all the project files, you get them loaded up. Let's begin. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your rectangular Marquee tool. And this is going to allow us to be able to cut out the background. First, you need to get rid of the lock on the first layer. You're going to want to open up your background image and take your Marquee tool, select all of that, Control copy to copy or Command copy on a Mac, head over to your file, your image, and we're just going to put that over the top just like that. Now you're going to want to scale that up, so Control T or Command T, hold down Shift and begin to drag it up. Now you want it to cover not only the top, but you also want it to cover this bottom area down here. What am I talking about? This bottom area right here. So cover that and the top. So we actually went a little too big, so we can scale it down to about right there. So that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and place that image. Click the check mark on top. Take that image and pull it behind. Because now we'll start to reveal that image as we cut this image away. Make sure your first layer, let's go ahead and rename that to we'll call this the original, and we'll call this one Cityscape. It's always good to be organized, so we're going to start stacking layers in here. When you're trying to look for a specific layer, it's good to start organized and stay organized through the whole time. So all right, with our original image, let's see, I didn't even spell that right, did I? There we go. All right, with our original image selected, take our square Marquee tool, and you're going to want to start cutting away this other image in the background. Now, there's a lot of highlighted areas in here, so you might want to make sure you don't delete the highlights because somebody went and did all the work for you. So you want to keep all these highlights highlighted. So we're going to continue to do this all the way across. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the video, so when we're done, you'll just see the background. Okay, now you can see that I got all the background images cleared out except for the middle two, because we're going to have to go in there and do some fine tuning to get these cleaned out. So you want to grab your Marquee tool, your polygon lasso tool this time, and you can go with the with just a normal lasso tool. It just makes it a little tougher to get straight lines. So we're going to use the polygonal lasso tool. And we're just going to come inside here and just click in the corners like so. Come all the way down. Now we're not going to try to do any fine detail right now. We're just going to cut around Batman like so. Okay, so now we'll come in a little closer. And it doesn't have to be perfect because the image is going to end up being a little dark towards the end. So just try to get around his ears as much as you can. Make sure you get his jawline. If you can hear my dog, that's because he's loud. So I apologize for that. Alright, so for his little claws here, go ahead and make sure you cut around those. Alright, looks good. And now we can feather this. So once that's selected, go to Selected Mask. You can just bump the feathering up a tad. Say about a pixel or so, hit OK, and now we'll delete that, and it gave us a nice feathered clean looking mask. So we're going to do it on this side as well. get up around his bat ear. Alright, and selected mask again. What about 1 pixel? Good enough for me. And delete. Now there you have it. We got Batman cut out and we have our background image in place. It's a much better looking image if you ask me. So another thing you're going to have to do is the same thing we did with these big window bars, is you're going to have to cut out each individual little window bar to reveal our image behind it. So it's the same thing. Try not to cut out the highlights because we are going to end up coloring this to match this color anyways. Start highlighting. Now I noticed if you go a pixel over and you stop a pixel short, just use your up and down arrow keys and you can move this around to where you like it. I like it right there, and we'll delete it. So we'll just keep going. Try to follow along with the highlights in the picture. And if you miss 1 or 2 here and there, not a big deal. Most people won't even notice. You're not going to notice. You might notice, but you're not going to care. See, that one's just too big to fit inside the box. So we'll stop it right about there, and we'll just move it over. Let's see what that looks like. Works for me. So I'll go ahead and fast forward this video, and we'll get to the end. Okay, now you can see that we got all of the bottom windows cut out except for the ones around Batman. So again, we're going to take our polygonal lasso tool, come in a little tighter, and crop this image out as well. Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Just get it out of there. Okay, and there you have it. There is Batman looking out a new cityscape. So we're going to want to color this image to kind of create it. I love the colors in the original image. That's why I wanted to keep them that way. So we're going to try to color it close as we can. So we're going to leave this bottom section here so we can have a guide on what colors we're looking for. So click on your cityscape. Make sure that layer is clicked on. And we're going to go to Hue and Saturations. Now we're not going to get a perfect blend of colors through here. It's just not possible. I've tried it. So we're going to hit Colorize. And we're going to drag this up to, we can add a little bit more red. Try to get a nice tint going here. Something like that. And we're going to mess with the color throughout this. So I kind of like that right about there. Alright, pretty good. So now let's go back to image and we're going to go to adjustments. We're going to go to brightness and contrast. Try to bump that brightness up a little bit to give it that glow effect. Mess with the contrast a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, it's already looking really good. So another thing we're going to need to do is replace this bottom image with what you see on the top image. So one thing we're going to have to do is take a copy of Batman's cape and all this, because we're getting rid of this whole floor and we're going to make our own floor down here. So we need a copy of Batman's cape. So with the original layer selected and your polygonal lasso tool, let's go ahead and start cutting from about, I say about the bottom of the window here, and we're just going to, doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to blend into the background. So basically just like this and this, and just get a nice copy, cut across. Once you have that selected, right click, layer via copy. And we can just turn that layer off for now, but we have it. So, okay, next what we're going to do is make sure your original image is selected. Then hold down Shift and click on Cityscape. So we're going to highlight both of these areas right here. We're going to go to Layer, and we're going to merge layers. So we want those two to be one layer now. So with that selected, we're going to go to our Marquee tool. Make sure you select a new layer, add a new layer, so layer 2, and we're going to call this reflection. Okay, so on the original layer, make sure you have your reflection highlighted here. You're going to grab your Marquee tool, your rectangular, and we're going to try to make us a nice copy down here. Get that in place exactly where you want it, about halfway between these two windows. Now it's not a perfect line, but it's close enough. So now with that selected, keep your marquee layer tool selected on top and move this up. Just by holding the up arrow key, we're going to make this go right about where we need it. Okay, now click back on the original layer. I don't know why I have two reflection layers. Doesn't matter. Click on the original layer and you're going to right click, layer via copy. Okay. Now the reason I did this is because I was having trouble, for whatever reason, it was trying to cut this section of the original layer down. So now we have layer 2 and we're going to go to edit, transform, and we're going to flip this vertically. Boom. Now we can drag this layer down and try to match it up with our bottom footage. Okay, looks pretty good to me. So there you have, we kind of made our reflection and it looks good. So next thing we're going to want to do is lower the opacity. But if we lower the opacity, you're going to start seeing that other image in the background. So you're going to want to go back to your original layer, and now we're going to want to get rid of this. So take your marquee rectangular tool, do this selection again, and now with that selected, right click inside here, and we're going to do layer via cut. We're going to just turn this black. Oh, maybe I can spell black right. We're going to turn this black. So we'll just name that black. So we're going to right click on it, blending options, head down to color overlay, and we're going to make that black. So if it's not set black by default, go ahead and click the little box here and then make sure it's pick a black area and click OK. So now it's black. So now we're going to re-highlight our layer 2, which is our reflection layer. Okay, so we got reflection now. So now we could take the opacity down to something that you like. I like something right about there. So now it's nice, but we're going to have to mess with this just a little bit. So with the reflection layer selected, we're going to go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. So it actually looks pretty good right about 1.2. You can turn it down a little bit if you'd like. Let's keep it about 1. Okay, I like 1. Now if you want to brighten it up, you can take the opacity back up a little bit. It's up to you. Maybe a little brighter might be alright. So about 47%. Looks pretty good. Now you notice Batman gets cut off here, but we're going to fix that here in a little bit. So again, with the reflection layer selected, we're going to go up to blending options and we're going to add a gradient overlay in the back. So as you can see, my settings are pretty much already dialed in. So blending mode is going to be multiply, opacity is 100%. Make sure you have both these check marks checked. Scale is 63%. And click OK. And there you go. Now we have that nice gradient effect where it's falling off back here. So now we're going to add Batman's second layer back over him. As you can see, we took a copy of him. So you're going to notice these white lines going across his cape here. So we're going to want to get rid of those lines. So we're going to go to the healing brush. And this is pretty simple. Just kind of zoom into where you can see. And just draw a line across each one of those white faded lines. Now I know it's not easy to see, but trust me, this is going to make it a lot better quality, a lot more detail. Now if you mess up, see how it's kind of popping on the side? I got a little too close to the edge. Hit Control or Command Z and that'll redo the last thing you did. It's one of my favorite shortcut keys. We're just going to keep doing this till we're completely got that lines out. Okay, so now we have Batman's cape all done. So again, we're going to right click on Batman's cape layer. Let's do cape so we know what layer this is. Blending options, and we're going to add another gradient overlay on top of that. So basically the same, multiply, 100% opacity. Make sure both of those check marks are checked. If yours is not set, just click on this one. So mine was already reversed, but if yours isn't reversed, if your black was on the right side and your white's on the left side, click reverse, unreverse. So you want to make sure the black is on the left side. Scale is 63%, click OK. So now Batman's cape disappears into the background. So far we're pretty close to there. Now you can mess with the colors all you want in the background. I actually kind of like this one better than I did the original one, so I might leave these colors, but feel free to mess with the colors. You can go as far as going to the original image, and you can add a photo filter to it if you want to add some, put some more colors into there. You can add a green tint to it, all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to leave it the nice cool blue because I really like that blue color. So now if you notice in the original image, there was some nice white, nice really clear lines on the ground to show the ground. So we're going to need to put in a ground here just to kind of give it that perspective that he's standing on floor, not just floating in the air. So if you go over to this project file, which is the max resolution default, this is a nice grid that I found that actually works pretty well. So we're going to want to highlight the section that we want, which basically starting where the lines disappear in the background. So go ahead and let's just take that image with using your square marquee, your rectangular marquee tool. Select the area that you want, Command or Control copy, go back into our project, and you're going to want to put this towards the top. So click on your top layer, Control or Command V will paste that. So now we're going to take this image and we're going to drag it down and match it up right where it should be. So the floor should be right above this first set of small windows here. So in between the two sets of small windows should be the floor, and we're going to drag that back. Perfect. Now we can go over to our blending options and just start scrolling through them until you get one you like. I think that's the one that I used last time, which is lighten, maybe darken. Let's see. That one kind of looks cool too. Well, we're going to change the color of this. Another thing we can do is click OK on that. I have linear dodge add, which is kind of cool. So we're going to we can take the opacity down somewhere right about there. See, it just gives us the hint that there's a floor down there. So with that layer selected, I'm just going to drag this edge a little more. There we go. I don't want that line across the bottom. Plus we want to make sure it fits in here. Okay, that looks good there. And you can see it kind of disappears into the background, blended in pretty nicely. Now, one thing I did on the original one, if you notice, is I actually colored this. So if we make sure that let's name this grid. We'll call this our grid. Now you can go into image adjustments, hue and saturations. I might have to remove the black. Let's see what happens. Colorize, and let's give this a bump up the saturation a little bit, and we can start changing this. Try to match the color like it's a reflection of the city outside. Something about right there. So you can add a color to it. Now you can take this, your grid layer, Control or Command J is going to make a copy. If you like the darker blue, keep it. So we're going to go to Edit, we're going to go to Transform, and we're going to flip it vertically. Now we're going to take that and drag that up to the ceiling. Try to line it up so it fits in there nicely. And there you have it. Now you have a tiled roof and a tiled floor. Again, you can take I took the opacity down a little more. I didn't want to draw anybody's attention towards the top. I just wanted it there in case somebody was looking. And you can also right click, blending options, and we'll go down to gradient overlay, and we can make that disappear. So it starts disappearing as you get down to the bottom. Now I noticed because of if you can see, there's already lines in here from the previous drawing or from the original drawing. So we can go back to our original, our marquee square tool, our rectangular tool, and we'll select that layer via. We can just do copy if we want. Right click on that layer, and we'll call this layer roof black. Right click that, blending options. Now we're just going to color overlay this with black. Okay, and now you no longer see their white lines, you only have our white lines, or our blue lines. So this grid copy, we'll call this grid roof, and this one will be, oops, I want to change the name, there we go, grid floor. Okay, now there you have that part, looking pretty good so far. Now one thing that I did add is I added this bat signal. As you can see, my colors are different, but I actually like this like mono color better. So I mean, this one's cool. If you wanted to do this, you just kind of keep messing with the colors a little bit, adding stuff, but I actually like this. I like this one way better. So to add the bat signal, it's pretty simple. We're going to go to the project file, the bat signal. Just go ahead and with your rectangular marquee tool, just cut out the section that we're going to want. So right about there. Now Control or Command copy. Go back into our file. Control or Command V is going to paste that. Okay, now we're going to cut out just what we need out of this photo. So we're going to start clicking and just kind of make a circle around this. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to blend it in with the background. And we're going to come down to the edge here, up to there, and just start going back up. All right, now with that selected, we're going to right click, cut, go back to your original layer, and we're going to delete that so we just have this section left. And we're going to name this bat signal. All right, now this shouldn't matter where it's at. Looks like a good position. Now I have it coming out from behind this building, so we're going to drag it up, Control T, and we're going to scale it to size. Let's see, just where it kind of fits in between those two bars. And it looks like it's coming out from behind this building into the sky. All right, looks pretty good to me. Now we're going to go to our blending modes and just start clicking through till you find one that you like. That one looks okay. Lighten, let's see. There we go, that's the one I wanted. Color dodge. You can see it does its best to hide it behind this, but we're going to get rid of that anyway. So with the bat signal checked, grab your polygonal tool, and we're going to just go ahead and cut this out and delete. Alrighty, now you can see it's kind of a jagged line here. So one of the easiest ways that I like to blend things, and there's all kinds of ways to do it, but I just prefer to use my eraser tool, take the opacity down to probably around 16% for this case, and get yourself a nice soft brush. Now to raise and lower the brush size, you're going to hit the little bracket keys. So bracket key up, bracket key down, and we can adjust the size. So we can just go ahead and kind of just come in here and start to just basically dissolve the edge, and you can feather this as much as you like. It's just one of my favorite ways of doing things because I get more control over what I want, and you can raise and lower the brush opacity and the brush size, and you can really get detailed edges. It takes a lot of keystrokes, a lot of button clicks, but it's just the way I prefer it. Alright, that looks much better. So there you have that. This tutorial is pretty much complete. You can go in there and darken some of these highlighted areas. You can raise and lower the opacity of the ground if you want it brighter. Reflection if you want to bump that up to give it more of a brighter feel, brighter look to it. So play around with the settings. You can go in, cut Batman out himself and give him a glow so he's glowing there. There's so much you can do, but this is just a basic tutorial for today. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel for future tutorials. So thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.